Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I will be demonstrating how I adapted an almond cracker recipe which I found on the Charlie Foundation website. The Charlie Foundation is part of the famous U.S. Mayo Clinic Hospital, and the Charlie Foundation is famous for its ketogenic therapies to control uncontrollable epilepsy, cancer, and some other metabolic conditions. So if you have a moment, please do check them out. I'll provide the link to the original recipe in the description below. I made slight moderation to the original recipe, and the result was a crispy and buttery cracker, and is a perfect cracker to serve with my cheese ball or dipping sauces. I'll give you a few suggestions at the end. This recipe made 48 1-inch or 2.5 centimeter crackers. I made them all uniform so I could keep track of the macros more easily. And the macro ratio for each cracker is 5.2 to 1, with 0.4 grams of total carbs, 0.3 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in 0.1 gram of net carbs per single 1-inch cracker. Now to start, these crackers are very easy to make, and there are only 6 simple ingredients. And the first of the things to do is to dry roast the whole macadamia nuts over medium heat. If you're not familiar with the term dry roasting, all it means is you take a pan, you heat it up, you do not add any oil or butter or any lubricant, and roast them for a few minutes until they become nice and fragrant. This will bring out the natural oils and enhance the flavor of the nuts. I prefer to roast my own macadamia nuts because I know the flavor will be the freshest and the natural oils will be at their best as well. When the nuts are done, immediately remove them from the heat and place them into a cool bowl to stop them from browning and developing any further. And it's really important that you let the nuts cool completely before proceeding. And when your nuts are completely cool, grind them to a very fine flour texture. You can use any device you have, such as a food processor, bullet, or spice grinder, as long as you get a very fine flour consistency. Then set the flour aside for a moment. Now to make the cracker dough. Get a medium-sized mixing bowl, and to it add your almond flour, your macadamia nut flour, and whisk or stir well to combine the dry ingredients. To the dry ingredients mixture, add the olive oil and the salt, and whisk or stir well to combine all the ingredients thus far. Now add the egg whites and stir the egg whites into the rest of the mixture. After the egg whites have been well combined, add the whole psyllium husk, not the powder, but the whole psyllium husk. Stir well to combine and work the ingredients into a smooth dough. Then let the dough rest for about 15 to 30 minutes. This will allow the time for the egg whites to be absorbed by the nut flours. And while you're waiting, preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius. And prepare your cookie sheet by lining it with a piece of parchment paper. The dough for these crackers is really sticky. When the dough has rested, remove the parchment from your cookie sheet, put it on your work surface, and cover it with cling wrap. That will work better than a second layer of parchment paper. And then use a rolling pin to roll it out as thin as you like. The thinner they are, the crispier the crackers will be. If you leave them too thick, they'll still be delicious, but they'll be more like biscuit than a cracker. So again, please roll them out as thin as you possibly can get them. And then just remove the cling wrap. Also, try to make the dough into as nice of a rectangle as you possibly can. When I make these crackers, I formed them into an approximately 8-inch by 6-inch or approximately 20 by 15 centimeter rectangle, and then use a ruler or some way of measuring in such a way that you can create your equally sized crackers. While you're measuring out, it's also a really good idea to score the dough right to the paper because this will make it much easier to separate the crackers once they're baked. Then slide the parchment and cookie dough back onto your baking sheet and place in the middle position of your oven and bake for 10 to 15 minutes or until the crackers are a light golden color. I'd also like to recommend, unless you have a really excellent oven, you should rotate the cookie sheet at about the 8-minute mark, just to make sure that all parts of your cookie sheet and your crackers get baked evenly. By the way, this 8 to 10 minutes is a guideline. If you like your crackers a little bit more well done, or your oven temperature isn't consistent, you may need to add a few minutes to the baking time. Be careful, keep an eye on them, because you really don't want to burn them. They should be very light in color. Allow the crackers to cool on the pan before removing them. When I know that my crackers have cooled to room temperature, I transfer the crackers off the parchment and onto a cooling rack. This will allow both the top and the bottom to crisp up evenly. If you leave them on the parchment, the bottom will stay soggier. And then just let them rest on your counter for a few hours or overnight until you need them. It's really important that you allow them to air dry for a little while because the crackers will be very crumbly, and especially when they're still warm, and that's not the result I'm going after. And if you want a really crisp, crunchy cracker with a nice snap, make them the night before you're going to use them and let them air dry overnight. However, if you're making these ahead of time, I store my crackers in a Ziploc baggie or airtight container and put that into my fridge. These crackers will store really well in your fridge for about 3 days. Or if you're making several batches for an occasional time-to-time treat, then these crackers can also be frozen, and they'll keep in the freezer for a couple months easily. If you do freeze them, do allow the crackers to thaw on your counter, and if the crackers seem too soft, just put them back onto your parchment-lined baking sheet and bake for a few minutes in your preheated oven. But don't forget, keep a very close eye on them because they've already been baked once. All you're trying to do is to take out the moisture of these pre-frozen crackers. As I mentioned, they're a wonderful accompaniment for game night or parties, and I really love to serve these crackers with my cheese football. But if you want a different taste profile, I also use these crackers with my authentic Mexican guacamole, and that comes in either smooth or chunky version. So I hope you check out that video as well. And with both the cheese football or the guacamole, you can prepare a platter of veggies to go along with the crackers. Oh, one more thing. I also serve these crackers and the veggies with my roasted red pepper sauce or ajvar sauce. The buttery crackers and the red pepper sauce are an amazing flavor combination. If you want more chips than just 1 or 2 batches of my crackers, I would highly recommend you try my nacho chips. The link for all of the recommendations will be posted in the description below. I hope you make these delicious buttery crackers for your next Super Bowl party, game night, or get together, or just because you want a snack. For whatever purpose you use them, I really hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you're new to my channel or have not subscribed previously, please do so, and it would really help out if you could turn on your notification bell so that you will know when I post my next video. As always, the link for my printable Keto Cracker Charlie Foundation recipe will be provided in the description below, as well as the links for the other videos I mentioned